Hey guys, welcome back. So let's go ahead and get started by writing down today's objective. Today's objective is I can write an equation in slope-intercept form. Now, we had in the past in Unit 1, we had to solve literal equations, and this is just a little bit of review on that because this is going to help us do what we need to do today. Now, what you have to do, what it's asking us to do is to solve for r. All right, so r's right here. We got to get r by itself. The first thing you want to do is you want to get rid of this part right here because it's farther away. So the way I'm going to get rid of that is I'm going to add 3t to both sides. Now I'm going to put it under the 2t because it's like term. This will cancel, and then you get 3r equals 5t minus 45. Now, r is not by itself yet because we still have to divide it by 3. So we're going to divide everything by 3. And when you do that, the 3's cancel. So we're going to be left with r equals 5 over 3t minus 15. Okay? Now I want you guys to try the second one on your own. It's asking you to solve for b. Go ahead and do that right now. Alright, now to get b by itself, we have to get rid of first the 2a. To do that, we subtract 2a from both sides. Right, that's going to cancel these out. You're going to bring down minus 3b, and it's going to be equal to negative 2a plus 36. Okay, now you can't put the 2a and the 36 together because they are not like terms. Finally, we're going to divide everything by negative 3. This will cancel the negative 3's over here. You'll have b equals, now we have a negative and a negative. They're going to become positives. So we're just going to have 2 over 3a, and then we're going to have minus 12. Okay, so that's me solving for b. Now what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using this kind of knowledge to be able to write something in slope-intercept form. And just to remind you what slope-intercept form is, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And how do you know something is in slope-intercept form? The way you know is because y is by itself. Okay? Well, now down here, it asks us to write the following in slope-intercept form. To do that, because over here you know that it needs to have y by itself, right? We need to go ahead and solve each of these equations for y. So let's do the first one together. Now for this one, to get y by itself, you first have to subtract 6x, right? Because 6x is furthest away from the y. This cancel out over here. Now you're going to be left with 2y on the left side, and this is going to be equal to, now over here these don't go together because they're not like terms. I'm going to put negative 6x plus 30. The reason I put the 6x first is because I know that y equals mx plus b. The x has to go before the b, right? So that's this part right here. Finally, what I'm going to do is divide everything by 2. The 2's cancel. I'm going to have y equals negative 6 divided by 2 is going to be negative 3. Bring down the x. And then 30 divided by 2 is 15. Okay, so this is in slope-intercept form, again, because y is by itself. Okay, we'll do another one together. For this one, number 2, again, I have to get rid of this 5x because the 5x is furthest away from the y. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. This time I do have an x on that side, so I will put it right under it so that I can combine like terms there. These cancel, you're left with negative 8y equals, now over here I have x minus the 5x. That's going to give me a negative 4x. And then I'm going to bring down the minus 40. Okay, over here I'm going to have to divide everything by negative 8. Alright, so the negative 8's totally cancel. You're left with y is going to be equal to, over here you got to simplify. Negative 4 divided by negative 8 can be reduced to, now first of all, these negatives becomes positives, and since 4 goes into both these numbers, 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 8 two times. So it turns to be 1/2. Bring down the x, and then over here we're going to have negative 40 divided by negative 8. That is a positive 5. Okay, the first thing you need to do for number 3 is to subtract x because it's furthest away. So this will cancel over here. You get 6y equals negative x plus 24. Again, they're not like terms, so you just put them like that. We're going to now divide everything by 6. Now over here, these will cancel. You have y equals, now there's an invisible 1 here, so this is going to be negative 1 over 6x, and then 24 divided by 6 is just 4. So that's what we're going to have, all right? And then for this one over here, what you have to do is subtract 7x to both sides. That's going to get me negative y equals a negative 7x plus 9. So what we now have to do is divide everything by a negative 1 so that we can get y to be just a regular y instead of a negative y. Right, that'll cancel these, leaving you with y equals, over here a negative divided by a negative is positive, so it's 7x. Over here a positive divided by a negative is going to get you a negative 9. Okay? Alright, now for number 5, this is just a refresher on what we did before because we're going to need that knowledge to do the new parts under this. So what it asks us to do in number 5 is to identify the slope and the y-intercept and then graph it. So first of all, we know that the slope is always in front of the x. So the slope is negative 3. And we know that the y-intercept is always what's either being added or subtracted. Since we have a plus 1 here, it's going to be 0, 1. That's where we're going to start. So let's go ahead and start at 0, 1 right here. And then we're going to go ahead and use the slope. Now, negative 3 written as a fraction is negative 3 over 1. That's going to tell me to go down 3 and then to the right 1 because 1 is positive. So I'm going to do that right now. So down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1 right there. I'm going to do it again. Down 1, 2, 3 and then to the right 1. The other thing you can do, instead of going down and to the right, you can also go up 3, but then you'd have to change the bottom as well, and then you'd have to go to the left 1. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go to the left 1. That puts me right here. Now this makes it more of an accurate graph. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the dots. And there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and do number 6 together. All right, for number 6, the slope for this one is a 2 over 3, and then the y-intercept is 0, negative 2. Now 0, negative 2 starts at the bottom over here. And then the slope again, over here, it's 2 and a 3. They're both positive, so that's the same thing as going up 2 and to the right 3. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go up 1, 2, to the right 1, 2, 3. I can do that again by going up 1, 2, to the right 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to go the opposite directions. So instead of up, I'm going to go down 2. Instead of to the right, I'm going to go to the left 3. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, to the left 1, 2, 3. And I can do that one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Again, it's better to do this so that you have more of an accurate graph. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect these 5 dots, and this is what the line looks like. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and take a look at number 7. Now, you cannot identify the slope and the y-intercept just by looking at it right now. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do what we did on the first page, which is solve it for y. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So to solve number 7 for y, I'm going to subtract x from both sides. That's going to get me 2y equals negative x plus 2. Now, to get y by itself, I'm going to have to divide everything by 2. That's going to cancel out these 2's. You get y equals negative 1 over 2x plus 1, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. All right, now that it's in y equals mx plus b form, now we can identify what m and b are. M is always in front of x, so the m is negative 1 over 2, and then the b is what's either being added or subtracted. In this case, it's the 1, so we're going to start at 0, comma 1. So I'm going to put my point at 0, 1, which is right here, and this slope tells me to go down 1 and to the right 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Down 1 to the right 1, 2. Down 1 to the right 1, 2. I can do it one more time. Down 1 to the right twice. Now the opposite of that would be to go up 1 and to the left 2. So I'm going to do that right now. So up 1 to the left 1, 2. Up 1 to the left 1, 2. And then one more time. So now I have a lot of dots, which actually makes it really accurate of a graph. So I'm going to go ahead and connect these dots right here. There we go. So that's what the graph looks like. All right. Now I want you to get some practice on this. So go ahead and do number 8. You first have to solve it, then you have to graph it. Go ahead and do that right now. All right, now for number 8, let's go ahead and get y by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do here is subtract 2x from both sides. The 2x's will cancel over here, and then you get negative y equals a negative 2x minus 5. Again, you do not put those together because they're not like terms, and just put the x in front. Now, to get y by itself, we have to divide by negative 1. All right, so all these negatives will turn positive. So we get y equals 2x plus 5. So over here, we're going to have the slope is 2, which you can also say is 2 over 1. And the y-intercept is 0, comma 5. So we're going to start at 0, 5. And then we're going to try to do what the slope asks us to do. In this case, it tells us to go up 2 to the right 1. Problem is I can't do that because I can't go up 2. I'd be off the graph. So instead of going up 2 to the right 1, I'm going to go down 2 to the left 1. Okay? So I'm going to go down 1, 2 units, over to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1, and one more time. So now you can see I can go and connect these dots right here. There is my line. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, now go ahead and try this one on your own, and then we'll go over it. Okay, to get y by itself in this one, we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. We're going to wind up getting 2y equals negative 3x plus 0. But truthfully, we don't really need that 0 there, so I'm going to go ahead and erase it. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide everything by 2. That's going to get me y equals negative 3 over 2x. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is negative 3 over 2, because that's what's in front of x. And the y-intercept is 0, 0. We are going to be starting at the origin because there is that missing part, which is the b. That since it's missing, that means it's 0. Okay, so now I'm going to use the slope. This slope tells me to go down 3 to the right 2. So I'm going to do that. So down 3 to the right 2, down 3 to the right 2. The other way we can do this is we can go up 3 and to the left 2. So up 1, 2, 3 to the left 1, 2. Up 1, 2, 3 to the left 1, 2. Now we can go ahead and connect the dots here. And then we have our line. Okay, last one. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Okay, to get this one by itself, we first have to subtract 5x from both sides. The 5x's cancel. You get negative y equals negative 5x minus 4. Now we're going to divide everything by negative 1. That's going to change all the signs. That's going to give us y equals 5x plus 4. Our y-intercept is 0, 4, because that's what's being added, and the slope, since it's in front of x, is 5. Alright, in this case we can also write it as 5 over 1, so that's going to tell me to start at 4, which is up here, and the slope tells me to go up 5 to the right 1, which I cannot do right now, so I got to take the other route, which is to go down 5 and to the left 1. So let's go ahead and go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left 1. Do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left 1. So there is my line. There we go. And that's it. Okay. All right. We are going to get some practice on this when you come back. So we'll see you later, guys. Bye-bye.